Hey everybody, Snoo back again with part 2 of the tower magic finding. This time our big focus is on adding Nemesis to the tower maps in conjunction with magic finding for the obvious uniques, as well as nurse card, Wretched cards as well. If you watched part 1, you heard me really talk up Wretched cards. I've been selling them like crazy. In fact, I keep dropping, or I keep raising the price on them. I'm selling them in bulk at more than 4 chaos a piece. Now, Nurse card is holding stable. Scarabs basically holding stable. The part 1, I made the video about 4 or 5 days ago. Then I came down with a cold, and getting over that right now. So, apologies in advance if you see me sneeze or something. Might happen on stream, especially since I'm going to be streaming for about 2 hours this time, I think, because let's see, last time I did 32 maps where I just sort of, blazed through the maps as fast as I could, picking up loot along the way, and there wasn't a whole lot of loot to pick up. There's basically 6 links, some uniques, and divination cards and currency. It was about all I was picking up. Raw currency from quantity modifiers, really. Now, I'm going to have to pick up way more stuff. Currency from Nemesis 3, which has made me rethink my strategy as to exactly how I'm going to go about running the map. I've been doing, I've been messing around a lot, with Delirium mirrors, Delirium Nemesis, no Nemesis, Scourge maps, no Scourge maps. And what I've come to find is that particularly with Headhunter and how you sustain as many buffs as you can, it feels like running through the map as fast as you can and coming back to pick up all the loot afterwards is actually a pretty good idea. Way more likely to survive the map because you are sustaining the Headhunter buffs a lot easier. Save for, like part 1, when I had... Basically, it was a strategy where I was not picking up a whole bunch of stuff. And I think in that case, picking up as you go was actually the superior strategy. But this time, with how much currency is going to be dropping, there's no way. If I'm sitting around trying to pick up currency the whole time, anyone who's ever farmed Nemesis 3 in a big way with Headhunter knows that, you absolutely just kill your Headhunter buff timers if you're going around trying to pick it up. In most cases, it's wiser to just clear the map, come back, and pick it all up. And you know what? It's kind of leisurely, casual, and fun. You can kind of be, you can be hardcore, clear the map, and then just kind of casually lay back and go back through the map and pick up all the stuff. Try to do it pretty quickly, but I think that's going to be the superior strategy. So let me, I got to report a little bit on some changes I made. So quick announcement, I finally leveled from 98 to 100, which basically meant I got to add another jewel. I'm using like 25x jewels, by the way, because they're crazy expensive with the chaos dot multis. It's a big damage increase to get those extra 2 points. They are quite impactful, so that was nice. Character is a fair bit stronger because of that. Another change was so I decided to take a little bit of risk by crangling my weapon, my really nice crafted weapon, which is like a 50 to 100x weapon, depending on how much you value the base, and it didn't go well. I'm trying to be really smart about crangling, so like I could crangle my my helm, I could crangle my amulet stuff. Rings and amulets seem like a particularly bad bet because virtually all the downsides will actually hurt me, and there are actually a lot of upsides that don't help me. So I don't think I'm ever going to crangle the jewelry slots. But weapon, on the other hand, had a couple of really big upsides. The biggest one being Culling Strike. It had a low proc chance, but man, if I hit Culling Strike, I mean, that's an outright 10% damage increase across the board, which would be just huge. I mean, I would take a massive downside for that. And the weapon, which is one really nice part about the weapon, is extremely low chance of actually bricking it. The only downside modifier that would have bricked it is deal no chaos damage, and there's very low weight on it. It also has like deal no fire damage, cold damage, lightning damage, physical damage, which would have been a non-factor as a, and the other ones were dex requirement increase, which had the highest mod weight on it. No problem. I hit the minus res and didn't get any useful upside. That's unfortunate. I was lucky that it was minus fire res though, because there's so much fire res on these boots, I can deal with it. I can kind of. It didn't take much effort to manage my gear to fix that. For me and my gear currently, this is really not a downside. I could afford to lose the fire res. Basically, what it meant is I had to be a little bit pickier with my Ventor gamble and actually get 3 high res rolls instead of just 2, so to speak. Speaking of Ventors, I upgraded mine. I was using a couple good ones, but neither of them were 10% quantity. And I bought this one almost right after stream last time. I can't remember what I paid for it. It was like 40 or 50x, I think. Very good rolls on it. And I bought this one today, actually, with extremely good rolls. The resists are not quite as high, but actually perfect magic find rolls. Both of these have high life, which actually mattered to me. And, even with just 34 fire res, it's still no problem. My resistance is, as you can see, still above cap. So, lightning res was actually the big one. The one that was really hard to handle because, I'll show you why. I lost lightning res on the boots. I had a little bit of bonus lightning res on the implicit, on this bow, actually. And consequently, I was having, on part 1, I actually had to roll pure lightning res on my quiver. Pure lightning res, like 35 lightning res, just to hit cap. It's really annoying. I still can't run attack speed on this, which doesn't actually matter for Caustic Arrow, which is what I'm running. But anyway, you might have noticed that cold res is not capped. Well, the final change, the last change, the big one. Oh, before I talk about that, one real quick change. My amulet is almost identical to what I had before, but the one I had before, the third suffix was mana regeneration. Tier 1, but, quality of life didn't really matter to me. It didn't really make any difference. Now I have 14 all res, which is actually a tier 3 roll. I slammed a few more of these, finally hit a suffix that was actually decent, so and useful. Actually useful, like it really made an impact on how I was juggling my resist. I was straining quite hard to hit my resist caps. But anyway, that was nice. And now the big change, actually a seriously massive change I've done, is to my flasks. I have 2 unique flasks in here I wasn't even using before. I think I had 0 unique flasks. I dropped my life flask, actually, for one of these. I dropped my armor flask, and I dropped my life flask. And they even kind of fulfilling the same roles. So instead of a life flask, I now have a Atsiri's Promise. And basically, what this is doing, for one thing, it's giving me chaos res, so I no longer have minus 22 chaos res. I actually have capped chaos res now, actually, by virtue of 15 extra on the quiver, 35 extra on the flask, and then I picked up a couple nodes. I did change my tree a little bit, actually, which I'll mention at the end. One of the big things about this is 2% additional chaos damage leech as life during flask effect. So, chaos damage leech is a really hard stat to get. I could get it on my amulet, actually, at 0.5. Up to 0.6 with the catalyst, actually, but I could get it on my amulet, and I'm really seriously thinking about it. But 2% is a lot more than 0.6, and if I get it on my amulet prefix, that means I have to drop one of these prefixes. These are all extremely valuable prefixes. I definitely don't want to drop the crafted mod on here. I really don't want to drop the life mod, especially with the catalyst. And I sure as hell don't want to drop chaos skill. That's a huge damage loss if I drop that. So I really don't want to drop any of these. Consequently, I went this route. And it's such a quality of life. I noticed that a lot of times when I die, it feels like I got one shot. But if I actually like watch the replay, or if I really think about what happened is that I don't actually get one shot. You know, my damage takes a hit, and then it doesn't quite go all the way up to full from the minute 4 life on hit gained here. And I do have like 300 life regen or something like that. Not every map you get life regen, though, of course. Where's the life regen? I always forget where this modifier is. Okay, 255. Mainly from vitality. 255 is nothing to sneeze at, but it's nothing crazy either. So now, throughout the map as I'm going through and doing damage, my life is just topped off like super easy mode. Like, it's always at full. There's only... it's a massive quality of life increase, and the biggest quality of life increase, and I no longer have to worry about hitting a life flask, which I like that. I was trying to figure out how to put, what is it? Forbidden Taste, this in there. This is my favorite flask, particularly with Burning Arrow Elementalist. I just can't do it. I tried it. I tried running it a bit, even with Cap Chaos Res, and it's just... I don't have the life regen. You need to have a lot of life regen to counteract this, and it just... This flask actually has a lot of problems, too, with Scourge modifiers. There's a lot of Drain Life Scourge modifiers this season, and it's just... this flask, in general, took a nerf by proxy, by virtue of the how Scourge works. It is a great flask. It's just not going to work for me. This one is way better, and the 35% chaos resistance is a nice bonus to that. I also added Taste of Hate. Now, why the hell am I using Taste of Hate? I get hardly no value out of this, right? Like, gained physical damage, extra cold, 0 value out of that. But I do get all the defensive value out of this. So I was running an armor flask. And then it kind of occurred to me that armor's good. It's a good stat this time around. But particularly with an evasion-focused character, really what I need to prevent via armor, I need to prevent one-shots. Armor's not really that great at preventing one-shots. Obviously, it has some impact. This modifier is, however, 15% physical damage taken is cold damage during flask effect. Combined with my helmet, tier 2, 6% gives me 21%, plus an additional 20% less cold damage taken. That is a serious physical damage reduction in one flask. So this is really, really nice. Really nice. It's basically the equivalent of 2 premium prefix rolls of, physical damage taken as elemental damage on a helmet or a chest. So, really happy about that. Also, added bonus, 50% extra cold resistance. Well, I'm not cold resistant, Cap. Who cares? Now I am with the flask. In fact, if there was a way to drop additional cold res on my gear and get more out of my gear in some other way, I would do that. In fact, I did do that, actually. I was wearing these gloves right here, which gave me cold res, which capped me off. Now I don't have to. Now I can run the ones with intelligence, which meant I was able to drop one of these goofy points right here. I was able to drop this sucker and get an extra passive point that way. Really nice. So that was a good change. A couple other things I did with the flask. I moved... So I was using... where is it here? Gold flask. Nope, that's not the right one. There it is. I was using this flask. Doubled up rarity on items found flask. Well, and I was using my mana flask. I was using this, yeah, so I was using these two here. Mana cost reduction to skill effects, nice. Not super important for my build, though. So what I did is I moved this suffix over to my mana potion, which meant I could put 2 premium suffixes on both of these. There's basically 2 utility flask suffixes that I deemed as mandatory. One of them is reduced effect of curses on during flask effect, which this, on an alchemist flask, this is over 80% reduction curses. It essentially completely eliminates the threat of curses on me, almost completely. And the other one is my strategy to getting chill and freeze immunity is right here. Now, I will point out that Taste of Hate's one added bonus of Taste of Hate is 30% chance to avoid chill and frozen. Which means I could swap the suffix on this to 65% reduced chance of getting chilled and getting frozen. And with this being on an alchemist flask, just these 2 flasks up at the same time would be 100% immunity to chill and freeze. Really cool synergy there. Wouldn't need it on any. You wouldn't need the Pantheon. You would completely drop Soul of the Brine King for presumably Soul of Lunaris. Way more mapping physical damage reduction on Soul of Lunaris. And would able to completely drop the need for the implicits that I went out of my way and spent a lot of money on getting fixed up. My implicits have primarily reduced effect of chill. I have 2 of each. I have 2 reduced effect of chills. I have 2 reduced freeze durations. So, which means just this flask, as well as doubling up 2 implicits, 100% immunity to freeze. So I didn't swap this over because I have no reason to really mess with my jewels again. But if you were to, if you're thinking about, how do I get freeze immunity? 1 suffix on utility flask combined with Taste of Hate, with the utility flask being alchemist prefix. Alchemist something something flask of the bear. Or, sorry, not of the bear. It would be of, I can't remember the name, but it's the one to avoid chilled and frozen. You done it. You mean? So anyway, those are the big changes to my gear since I made the last video.
I'm not up to that
Definitely upgrades. I saw damage boost as well in my gear through mainly just through getting going from 98 to 100. The very last thing I changed was I dropped. So I had already sacrificed Chaos Res and Spell Suppression. On the first video, I had like 50% Spell Suppression. And that's because I had these nodes right here. This gives 40% right here total, these 3. I dropped all of these. And I picked up 2 Jewel slots. And, yeah, something else, which I'm forgetting, actually. Anyway, I went ahead and got the Chaos Res. What tipped me over the edge on this is I was rolling a Brutal Restraint and I hit max life on this, so I was like, alright, I guess extra incentive to get the full Chaos Res is this passive. I picked up this one finally here. Now, because I've capped Chaos Res, this mastery is actually very good. It's, what is it? It's essentially an extra... Let's see. Well, with this, I actually have 76%. So it's an extra, what, 19%? I think 19% chaos damage over time multiplier that I was missing before. So that's another very big damage increase. I actually plan to probably drop these if I get to a point where I roll another Brutal Restraint. I realized that Brutal Restraint can roll aura effect 8% on them. And then I also discovered Alchemist Genius, which is always up because my flask is getting triggered constantly, which is really good. So I was really trying to hit something where I got Alchemist Genius combined with like 2 or more aura effects. I couldn't do it though. I checked like 300 different Brutal Restraints, but the one I got's pretty nice here. I got double max life combined with attack speed and cast speed. So pretty good with the Alchemist Genius. Part of the problem is I don't have any jewel slot where I have more than 4 notables in range. Where most builds, I think, have some jewel slots where they have more than 4 in range. I do not, however. Actually, I think I can almost, in this spot, I could maybe use a Inspired Learning. That'd be an interesting choice. I might think about that. Anyway, that's it on the gear. Let's go into the run here. So I plan to do 2 hours because 32 maps before was 3.5 hours. So I'm going to run 16 maps this time, half the number of maps, because it's going to take longer because Nemesis 3. So if I was able to run 16 maps in part 1 in 1 hour and 45 minutes, I might be able to run 16 Nemesis maps in 2 hours. Probably not. It's probably going to be like 2 hours and 15 minutes. But anyway, it's fine. Whatever it is, divide it by the time. That's how much currency per hour. So here's the big question for this video. The big question is, when you're doing magic finding on Tower, is it worth taking some of the maps you roll that hit rarity, or sorry, Nemesis on the map roll, some of the fairly high quantities, Nemesis map rolls, is it worth going Nemesis 3 in conjunction with magic finding? Because there is no direct synergy between those two. Nemesis 3 is completely independent of rarity and quantity on map. There is actually one synergy. The one synergy between the two strategies is that both strategies benefit greatly from pack size. And since Beyond is on the Atlas, it really opens the opportunity to do this, to do Nemesis 3 in conjunction. It's a lot of fun, you know. So they don't feel synergetic very much, but there is a small synergy there in pack size and the fact that you're already going beyond even when you're doing just magic finding. I went ahead and went with Foreboding Delirium Orbs, the one I liked last season. It's still fairly cheap. 37 Chaos is not the cheapest, but as we can see, it's about 20x in here. Yeah, right at 20x basically. That's all the Delirium Orb. That is the cost of the maps. That's the cost of the Scarabs. I swapped the Elder Scarabs for Harbinger Scarabs, and I went ahead and swapped my passives over, because if you're going to run Nemesis 3, you're going to put Delirium Orbs on your maps, in which case this notable, and these two small passives have literally zero benefit. Literally zero benefit. So absolutely might as well get the Harbinger in there. These 8 passives here have a tremendous impact on getting more Nemesis 3, getting more value out of your Nemesis 3 maps. Last thing to check here is the price of the Watchstones and Sextants. Once again, they do not appear up on the snapshot at all. So I have to sort of supplant Exalted Orbs in place of their value. Territories Unknown, elevated Sextant roll is, with a Strongbox Enrage modifier, is 1x at the very most. There it is. Irresistible Temptation with unique monsters drop corrupted items is about 1.5x. They've been a little harder to come by. Supply, they actually have paid up to 2x for one of these. In my mind, they're still only worth 1.5x. I went ahead and put 2x there because it's going to cover a little bit of the extra cost of the Booming Populace here. Booming Populace with a random elevated sextant roll, random useful one, is worth more than 2x. 20% Booming Populace in particular. This is really worth about 1.5x. I mean 2.5x with this sextant. It's about worth 2.5x. With this being about 1.5x, together 4x. So they even out. And oh yeah, I'm not using one of my nice little 4% effect to non-unique maps, Watchstone. Now I am replacing it with War Among the Stars. I think that's actually going to be a little bit better because of the sheer number of extra monsters on the map. And of course, it makes it easier for me to get Nemesis 3 on there. Otherwise, I would have had to have bought 4 booming Populaces with Nemesis 3. So, 4 unique Watchstones now. This Watchstone with this Sextant is 1x, right? Yeah, possibly less, but really, yeah, 1x. So there you go. That's where all this came in. Really quite accurate representation of that. So that's 3, 5, 9. 9x total in the value of these Watchstones and Sextant combinations. So a quite accurate representation of how much this is going to cost. And it's really nice that I'm able to have a very clean, nice 20x in there for 16 maps. What does that equal, actually? That's 20 exalts invested in 16 maps. That's more than 1x per map, of course. That is 1 1/4 exalt per map. So part 1 was 3/4 of an exalt per map. Now we went above and beyond 1x per map invested to get Nemesis 3. Basically, I added an extra half exalt per map invested to utilize Nemesis 3 is essentially what I did. And that's, most of you probably thinking, is that what? Yeah, that's worth it. If you're already looking at a high pack size map, even outside Glencairn's, probably going to prove to be worth it, especially in the absolute sense, just with absolute value per map. Now, is it worth it in terms of time efficiency calculating? That is, it's going to take me longer to clear each map, which means it's going to be a little bit more questionable as to whether it truly is worth doing what I'm doing right here. And maybe I should have just ran all these maps like they normally are and forgotten the fact that they have a Nemesis on there, or scourged them in particular. Well, part 3 will be this exact same strategy, except all these maps will be scourged as well. So I'm sorry if you're like gritting your teeth, like, oh my god, he's gonna run Nemesis maps without scourging them. What? Yeah, part 3 may actually be better. But anyway, let's go here. We're gonna do one last snapshot. Okay, take a snapshot. There it is, 19.98x. So whatever that amount ends up, I subtracted by 20x. That's how much I made. We can go ahead and throw these all on here. Easy does it. Don't want to accidentally misclick this. 20% is enough to do that. Okay. I'll get rid of that one first, I guess. I have to use an extra hit on the booming Populace because it only has 15 uses total, so I have to, rig my thing a little bit that way. Now, this is not a supremely focused Nemesis 3 strategy, because if it was, I wouldn't be using Reliquary Scarab. It doesn't put any rares on the map. Neither does Divination Scarab, for that matter. And so yeah, like this is not this is a sort of hybrid farming strategy. Oh, greetings. Definitely need to. This prophecy does not put extra res on the map either, actually. So there we go. Looks pretty nice. I think it's all set to go. I will be running Alva as well, so that's another factor in there. And I feel like I'm gonna forget to add her a couple times, but hopefully that's not the case. There, that's all set, ready to go. This sucker can go back in the drawer somewhere. Okay, no prophecy procced. And last snapshot, okay. Minus 15.2x per hour. Starting at 1840. Okay, just triggered right there. So I will switch this over to the other scene. And we are on our way. Starting at 6:40, hopefully by 8:40. Hopefully by 20, which is 8 o'clock p.m. local time. Hopefully by then it will be done. Yeah, I figured I'd lag. I haven't run Delirium in a hot minute here. I'm gonna skip all loot because I want to just focus on... Oh god, yeah. Delirium plus Scourge Realm. There you go. Laggy, 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 laggy. Okay, CPU's kicking into gear now. Should be good for the rest of the stream. The Sextants. I forgot to mention the Sextant unique monsters drop corrupted items also does not synergize in any way with Nemesis 3 in particular. But it's still a very valuable Sextant. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. Not noticing a huge amount of currency dropping. A little bit let down by that. Like I should be seeing a little more. I mean, my loot filter is quite tight. You know. I'm not seeing orbs of alteration, for example. I don't even see that drop. It's not worth it to pick up, I think. Okay. I'm gonna keep this rampage going. Ah! And then failed to keep it going because I misclicked. Start it up again. Quick weapon swap will get me in. So I now only have 10% spell suppression. Particularly on non-scourged maps, there's virtually no threat of me dying to spell damage. Ironically, with the exception of Ignite. Actually, Ignite is the one thing that can kill me. But now when maps are scourged, the monsters do like extra damage, and then I think that does make a difference. Beyond bosses actually can kill me potentially, especially if my flasks are down. Oh, polished Harbinger Scarab, that's nice. We'll go with Bolt for that one. Bolt was on the left, I believe. Hey, kept Rampage up. Went straight into this temple with good Headhunter buffs, which will make it a lot easier. Oh, some damage. See my health go right back up the second I hit anything because of crazy amount of leech I have. Do that, I guess. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I'm also leveling gems, just like last time. I know, actually, I don't know if, perhaps I can't say this time that I can use my gems because I'm not doing 32 maps. I don't think I will level a gem completely from 16 to 20 in just 16 maps this time. Maybe I can't, we'll see where it's at, I guess.
I'm not up to that just yet.
I'm not even sure I checked this temple. So no nurse card, no exalted orb yet. I'm halfway through the first map. Saw my health dip and then it was instantly full again. It just seems to be worth more than a life flask. Ah, there we go. I actually see some currency on the ground. Oh. Whoops. Not doing a very good job keeping my Headhunter buffs and Rampage up this first map. Gotta get into the swing of it a little bit. I'm not used to running Alva missions. I haven't done Alva missions in really long time. Got to go in the Scourge up there. Feeling pretty strong though, flying across the map. Clear the whole realm. The whole on one floor in one go, which is good. I've been in this map for 5 minutes so far. So I cleared it in 5 minutes. But I gotta loot everything. Gonna take some time. Might have made a mistake actually. I don't have any live monsters left on this map to ship back in and out. To clear out the extra Scourge packs. Could be bad. I think I might have forgot to put Alva in there. Yep. A random 100 traders, it looks like. $100 traders is a pretty big hit on the random thing. That's gonna result in a lot more currency. What? What the fuck? Double exalted orb. Got 2 exalted orbs off the same rare monster. Oh my god. I've never seen that in my entire life. Ever. And I've farmed a lot of Nemesis 3. God, I wonder what the statistical odds of that are. Gotta be like, it's gotta be like 1 in a million or something. Okay, we're back with the results from the farming session, 16 maps. It took 2 minutes shy of 3 hours. Whew. 1 minute, actually 1 minute shy of 3 hours. Wow, 1 minute shy. Let's pull her down here. A little surprised how long it took. I guess I'm not that surprised. I forgot just how slow you are when you have to go back and pick up the loot, even with 300% increased onslaught effect out of combat. But my goodness. So to do 16 maps in part 1 was only 1 hour and 45 minutes. To do 16 maps in part 2, just adding a Delirium Orb and Nemesis 3, I went from 1 hour and 45 minutes to 3 hours to do 16 maps. So I think this is going to be less currency per hour just on account of the per hour getting shafted so hard. I did get quite a few Exalted Orbs, but I gotta say I am super salty because I got some of the worst RNG I've ever seen when it comes to nurse cards. So let's see what we got here. One last snapshot. If you recall, it was... Is that really last snapshot? Wow. Pretty bad. That's not accurate at all. 20x invested. If I managed to do this all in 2 hours, then I indeed would have made 10x per hour. But I did not, because it took me 3 hours to literally exactly 40x now with 20x invested. I find that so hard to believe. It was literally like 19.96x. So I made precisely 20x in 3 hours net profit. And that would be 20 divided by 3. Oh God. 6 and 2/3. Wow, that's so pathetic. I mean, that's hell. I make more currency per hour farming Blight in my original video with a headhunter than I did doing that. But a large part of how bad the results are is because the nurse cards was sorely lacking. I should have actually doubled the nurse cards I found. So if you go in here and we check nurse cards, we're going to find that I found 5 nurse cards in 16 maps. basically mega juiced, which is actually just saying it pisses me off. Pitiful showing of nurse cards. I anticipated I'd get 10, probably 10 nurse cards in 16 maps with this amount of juice. Because I'm still going in and out of the Scourge realm by choice, which means I get the full number of Scourge monsters. A very, very tiny number of Scourge monsters are missing because Alva removes some Scourge monsters from the realm. But it's not a huge number. And honestly, like, the sheer amount of monsters that you kill in the temple incursion probably makes up for the loss of there, as well as I also had Delirium on every single map, which adds a huge number of monsters. That's how I sort of estimated that I would get even more than average. So I'm looking forward to seeing how many Wretched cards I drop, because that will give me a lot of insight here. I said before in part 1, 15 Wretched cards equals 1 Nurse card usually. Actually, after playing a little bit more recently, I feel like I might have been a little too conservative on that. Feels more like 12 or 13 or maybe 14 Wretched cards per Nurse card. But, you know, I'll just stick with it for now. And let's see how many Wretched cards I got. 118. Actually sounds a little low. 118 divided by 15 is 8. Yeah, okay. 118 divided by 15 is 7.8. So yeah, I should have gotten at least 8 nurse cards. So we'll say, let's say, actually I'm curious about that. Let's say, for example, oh, I almost leveled up that gem there. So I should go ahead and add, I got basically full gem levels just like in part 1, so it does seem plausible for me to add a 3x to this on account of leveling gems. I was able to level gems almost to 20, extremely close to 20. And I make 1x per gem level from 16 to 20 alternate quality. Reliably. I sell them very reliably. So you could too. You know, you do have to figure out exactly which gems to do. But even if you don't pick the right gem, just still, if you pick a decent gem that becomes more popular as the season goes on, Divergent Flicker Strike, then you're gonna be good. I'm also doing Phantasmal Toxic Rain has been going up in value a lot recently. By the way, I sold a level 21 Phantasmal Toxic Rain earlier today for 15x, and a 21 level Flicker Strike, Divergent Flicker Strike for 10x earlier today, actually. Divergent Flicker Strike's a really good bet, actually, because even if you double corrupt it, and even if it goes down to 19, I still sell it for almost the value that I bought it for initially, which is unbelievable how much value that is. So actually, yeah, we need to re-up this calculation here. So, well, I mean, obviously it would be how did I get 45x suddenly? What? I put 3x in, now it says 45x. What is this thing doing? Like, hold on a second. Something must be moving around. Did Awakened Sextants just go up half a chaos suddenly? Just a second ago. I don't know. Now that's weird. Wow, I got 6 Ancient Orbs out of that. 1 full Simulacrum. Okay, well, that's strange. Okay, I'm going to say 45x now. 45 divided by 3. What? No, 25. 25 divided by 3. Okay, that's 8x per hour. 8x per hour. Now, if I had found 3 additional nurse cards, like I should have, That would be... that'd be right about 50x, actually. Okay, so that'd be 30x divided by... Yeah, 3. So that would be about 10x per hour. Alright, so it feels like RNG being what it should be. I also made almost 10x an hour. I'm going to advertise this as 8 to 10x per hour. Try to be fair like that. Now, maybe a tiny bit less x per hour than in part 1. A tiny bit. And the biggest reason that is because it just slows me down so much. Let's see how many exalted orbs I got in here. I got 12. Now I just inserted 3. And so that means 9 dropped in the map. That's a little bit over 1 every other map. That's about what I expected, I think. Maybe a little more. So when I do 16 maps regularly, I usually get on average maybe 2 or 3 exalted orbs, raw X, in 16 maps. Just from the sheer amount of quantity. Drops tons of currency drops. And you see exalted orbs occasionally. 2 or 3 in a 16 map session. So that means I probably got like 2. And then 6 or 7 or 8 dropped from Nemesis 3. Really cool. I'm going to put on... I'm actually going to make this the screenshot, part of the screenshot of this video. I got 2 of my exalted orbs dropped off the same monster. And I didn't actually see it live. They dropped off screen, I think. But when you go up and you see, they're literally tiled up together, like exactly, pretty clearly dropped off the exact same monster. Which in my entire life, I've never seen that happen. And no, it did not drop in a stack of 2. It dropped like, it was like 1-1. Just doo-doo, like that. When I walked up to pick them up. Any other big drops here? So, interesting thing, doing 16 Delirious, 20% Delirious equals a full Simulacrum. I got a Void Battery. I switched over to Harbinger in the Atlas and ran Harbinger Scarabs, polished. Consequently, I got enough Ancient Shards to equal 6 Ancient Orbs. I got 6 raw Ancient Exalted Shards. That's actually pitiful. I would have expected more than that because I used Obscuring Delirium Orbs. And yeah, I saw hardly any Exalted Shards. Very unfortunate there. 91 Divine... Oh my god, that's a lot. I did put a couple Divine Orbs in from my stash to make up for a few items that dropped and rolled well. So many though. It's an average of 5 to 6 Divine Orbs per map. 6 links. Well, no, actually, like 1... okay, probably like 5-6 links per map, because I do actually get a lot of Divine Orbs from Nemesis 3. Not a lot, but a few. Lion Eye dropped. A unique Cluster Jewel dropped. Cheap one. A Sacred Orb dropped. 1 Simulacrum plus 79 Splinters. Okay. 3 polished Harbinger Scarabs dropped from the Obscuring. Let's see. I got a few. Oh, why did it reset like that? Stupid. 88 Awakened Sextants. Part 1, I only dropped 17 Awakened Sextants in 32 maps. With Nemesis 3, I dropped 88 in 16 maps. That's interesting. 387 raw Chaos Orbs. Yeah, that's about right. 10 raw Orbs of Annulment. Some of those are shards, but still, that's a lot. I got a Prism Guardian. 2 Cospreys. Once again, I did not get great unique drops. I did okay. I think I did better than part 1. I actually got some, you know, medium value 20-ish chaos per, but still didn't get, definitely no big ones. about it. 1 orb of unmaking. Yeah. Honestly, not that impressed. You know, if you had asked me at the beginning of this thing, I would have said, I would have expected this, what I just did, to yield about the same amount of X per hour as part 1. I'm a little disappointed. It does legitimately appear to be a little bit less. A little bit less. So I do not recommend taking your, when you're rolling tower maps, and you get the decent quantity, like this, for example. This is a good example of the maps. You know, 80, high 80s, low 100s, with a Nemesis roll. I don't recommend going Nemesis 3 on these. Now, what I'm going to do in the next video in part 3, which I should make here in the next few days, I'm going to do the same thing I just did, except also scourge them all the way up to tier 10. I actually have a bunch of them here already. Like, I've already been doing this. So these are exactly the kind of maps I'm going to be running in the next video. Should be interesting to see. They got a wide variety of scourge modifiers in here. I got a couple of the really good ones like this. It's, double corruption stacks. I got some of the bad ones too. You know, like this one. Some of them. This is a terrible map right here. It's got the worst shifting modifier, and it's got really awful drop modifiers. But you know, at least one of these is Scarabs, I think. Yeah, 2 of them are Scarabs. 1 Scarab there, and 3 Scarabs here. Nothing crazy. Yeah, you could expect that. You know, in 16 maps, you can expect at least a few Scarabs. But yeah, I think I gotta put a couple more maps in there. Yeah, so well, that's about all I got to say in the video. I'm gonna go dry my eyes from all the salt about not getting any nurse cards. Nearly as many as I should. Yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Hope it was educational. Kind of turned out as expected. So yeah, we'll see you guys around. Thanks.